you will be able to actually at least hear the class. Hold on. There we go. Okay, much better. Now I don't hear myself talk. You'll be able to hear the class, and if you do have any questions, you can just send me an email afterwards. So this way you can at least follow along as we're doing stuff. Sometimes I can read the chat. If you put a message in chat, I'll be able to catch that, but not always because it's not on my screen. All right, let's go through the syllabus real quick. There's some, yeah, like I said, they made it really long because there's a ton of stuff at the end that we have to put in there now. But I'll go through the more important pieces. Classes from 12:30 to 2:15. Most days we will not be here till 2:15. Probably class will end right around 2. I want to at least have the last 15 minutes. People have questions and stuff like that. You can ask them. Yes.
Actually, good because one of those days on the week I work right after school, so
that works.
Yeah.
There you go. The only book you're going to need, you will not need a hard-covered book for this class. You will just need the ALEKS code. So if you bought the book, great. You can have it. It's not a big deal. We're not going to use the book in class. Everything will be done on ALEKS. So all you actually really need is the ALEKS code. I don't know how much the bookstore is charging for it, but last class that I taught pre-calc, which was 2 semesters ago, it was cheaper going through ALEKS than it was at the bookstore. So it might be better just to look at ALEKS instead of going through the bookstore, unless you have financial aid. Okay, so let's see how much it is on ALEKS. Let's say. Oh, God. That is insane. As I'm saying this now that I'm writing math books. Let's see how much the books are on ALEKS. Purchase ALEKS. It looks like $100 for 6 months. So it's cheaper on the website than going through the bookstore. So, all right. This is where the no having computers in here is going to change a little bit, but typically if you use ALEKS, I do my testing online in ALEKS, but since I don't have computers in the classroom, we're going to do paper tests, which is not that big of a deal. Everything else, your homework and all that other stuff will be on ALEKS though. So, and I'll go through and show you all that stuff in a little bit. Anybody in here has not used ALEKS before? Okay, so you know they use it in the college algebra class and stuff like that. So if you have not used it before, that's fine. I will show you everything today, what you need to do, and get you set up and doing it. If you've used it before, it's not going to be much different than you did before. So you have all the topics and everything else in ALEKS. It's 20% of your grade. They do have due dates on them, mostly just to keep you moving in the class. Okay, so the first set of topics is due, I think it was September 10th. So after September 10th, those are locked, and it'll move you on to the next set, even if you're not done with those. If you finish your topics ahead of time, it'll unlock everything. You can go back and fill those in. Right after Thanksgiving, I actually unlock all the topics again, because that'll be when your last one's going to be due. Everything will unlock at that point. I do not take your final percentage of topics done until the day of the final. Okay, so you have until December 14th to finish as much of the topics as you can. Okay, so if you get behind a little bit at the beginning of the semester, because there's a lot of topics at the beginning, depending on how well you do on your initial knowledge check, you will have time to catch up that stuff at the end to bring that part of your grade up. That's 20% of your grade. You'll have 3 tests. They will be in-class tests on paper. They're each worth 15% of your grade. The final exam will be a cumulative final exam. It is on, if I remember right, it's December 14th for this class. They have a final schedule if you haven't been told that yet this year. So your classes will be a little different during the finals week. You won't have as many of them on each day, but they're longer. So it's like we won't have class on Tuesday and Thursday that week. We will only have class on Thursday that week. So, and I'll get the times and I'll have those on for you on Thursday because I know they're still finalizing that list. Participation's 10%. Unless you totally go off the rails, pretty much everybody gets the 10%. That's literally there just so you don't show up for the 3 tests or the 4 tests and don't show up to anything else. So pretty much everybody gets the 10% for participation. Any questions on that? Pretty straightforward, pretty simple.
There's no quizzes or anything?
Nope. So you'll have knowledge checks and stuff built into Alex that'll do it as it's going, and that's kind of like the quizzes and stuff, but that's all built into your the final percentage. Because when you use Alex, basically you take your initial knowledge check, they'll tell you what you know, and then you go through it. Every so often, when you finish a unit, it's going to give you another knowledge check, and if you don't remember how to do stuff, it'll give you those topics back. So you'll have to basically redo some of the topics that you didn't remember how to do. That's how the quizzes and stuff works, but it's all part of that homework 20% grade.
But that's also going to be like the same amount of questions each time.
Yeah, actually, I should have by next Tuesday all the tests. There will be a preview or a review copy of it online in Alex, so you can actually go through and practice the tests before you come to class and see them. So they'll be basically the same type of thing, as just different questions. So you'll see the topics and stuff that are going to be on there and work through them that way, and then come to class and take the actual test. I do allow an index card for your tests. So a 3x5, 4x6 index card, both sides, handwritten, no typing on it, stapling things to it. You can use that for your tests. And then the final exam, you can use all the 3 index cards if you want, or a sheet of paper. Same thing, handwritten. Any questions with that? The index cards there's a very good reason for the index card over like some people are like, oh, I don't open notes, open book. The index card forces you to study, to write down the stuff that you actually need to know. It also helps you when you're going through, if you're doing the review tests in Alex, you write down the stuff that you keep forgetting. So it's a study tool just as much as it is to help you with the actual test. So they're really the only thing that you can miss is the tests. If you're going to miss the tests, you need to tell me ahead of time so we can set up a time for you to take it. Okay? Because I can't give back the test to everybody until everybody's done with it. So that's really the only thing that you can miss. There might be some times for extra credit and stuff allowed later on in the class, depending on how I see people are doing and stuff like that. There might be some opportunities for some extra credit there. That's just the grading system. It hasn't changed in decades, so I'm pretty sure everybody knows what that is. This is the breakdown. So first couple weeks, we're going to be doing the reviews, which is chapters 1 through 3 and a little bit of chapter 5. Chapter 4 is really the beginning of the pre-calculus stuff. That'll be what your first test is on, which will be on September 28th. Will be your first test. So the week of the test, on the Tuesday, I will do a review of the test, and then that Thursday will be the test. Okay. And then the 19th is your chapter 6 test. November 16th is chapter 7 and 8, and then your final exam review will be the week before, and then the exam will be on the 14th. Okay. Yes.
Do you make the final, or does the department make
I make the final. So it'll be based on the stuff that I've taught in class. So there won't be anything crazy on the final that you haven't seen. All right. The next thing that's in your syllabus it's also on the website, so if you didn't grab a copy, you're fine, is actually probably the more important piece, the class code for Alex. So when you go into Alex, you're going to need this class code to log in. And if you have not bought your Alex code yet, there's the financial aid code. That'll give you 2 weeks, 14 days from when you sign up for it. After 14 days, you'll have to pay for it. But that gives you 2 weeks to get in, do your work and everything else while you're getting the money together or whatever else to get the actual code for the class. It doesn't add anything to your code. It just gives you those 2 weeks to watch for financial aid, because they know that not everything comes through right at the beginning of the semester. Okay, so those are the 2 codes you possibly will need when you log into Alex. I think that's, and all the rest is just the stuff that they told me I have to add. Any questions on the syllabus? Okay. So did everybody take math last semester? Anybody take math farther than last semester?
Does like college algebra count?
That would be math, yes. So that'd be fine. All right. Yes. How long ago did you go?
Wow, years ago.
Okay. All right. Honestly, the hardest thing about pre-calculus is that it covers everything. So pre-calculus is basically a review of everything you've done in algebra put together and just made a little bit harder.
Did it happen to use Alex as a than you? No access to that.
Awesome. What I was going to suggest, so Alex has a ton of stuff built into it. I built a lot of that stuff into the first couple of weeks. So a lot of that stuff will help you out there. If you want more resources outside of that, Khan Academy is a great resource for that. It's free. It's easy to use. Lots of videos and stuff there as well. So I always highly suggest that as well. I'm here. I live in Hartford, so I'm only here on Tuesdays and Thursdays. But I have class at 7 o'clock tonight. So from 2 o'clock when this class ends till 7 o'clock afterwards, I'm sitting in one of the offices over in the adjunct office. So if you need help, if you're stuck on things, you want help on a specific topic or anything else like that, ask. I'd rather you ask me first than going down to the tutoring center. I know they can get overwhelmed and a ton of stuff down there. So it's like, ask me. I have no problem helping with this. Even if you don't want to be here, you want to meet online, you can do it at home, we can hop on a Google Meet. That's not a problem. Okay, so we can definitely do those types of things. I think that's it for that. So if I was doing it in Alex, yes. Problem is I have to do it on paper, so I don't have that ability. But you can do the test as many times as you want prior to the day of the test. So I should have all those put in Alex by next Tuesday. So you'll be able to practice the 3 tests, chapter 4, chapter 6, chapter 7 and 8, and the final exam as many times as you want before you go take that test. So, and Alex will just keep giving you new questions for it. So, and every time, I'll have it set up so you'll be able to get the review, you'll be able to get the actual answer with the explanation and everything else built into it. So it's truly a study guide for the test.
So I had a math class where Alex, the questions on Alex are so much freaking harder than the questions that we got on like actual exam. Is that how it's going to be here?
No, because I'm literally going to use the Alex test. They have 5 copies that I can print out. I'm going to print one of them out. So it's going to be the exact style questions formatted in pretty much the exact same way. So depending on the topic, I've used Alex for 8 years, 9 years actually, probably. We went through with the tech schools. We actually went to full Alex, like all the math classes were in Alex for years. So I've used Alex extensively. So I know how, like, there's certain topics that their problems are just insanely complicated. I'm not going to throw those on the final or on the test. It's like, I can go through and I know how to pick the specific topics that I want that are the ones that are designed to help you go forward. I've taught Calc 1 here. I've taught Calc 2 here. I just finished writing a Calc 1 book. We're currently writing a Calc 2 book. The number one thing that pre-calculus should do is preparing you for calculus and beyond. And the number one thing students struggle in calculus is not the calculus. It's the algebra. So when I'm picking topics and looking at things, especially for the tests, I'm looking for those topics that are the ones you're going to need going forward. So those would be the ones that I'd be focusing on those. But like I said, you're going to see the exact questions and the topics that are going to be covered because you'll see those on the actual tests. So, all right, let's switch over to Alex so you can see this. So if you have never used Alex, this is what Alex looks like. When you first log into it, it's going to give you a couple little lessons on their tools and how to use the things, how to put numbers in, how to use their calculator, stuff like that. I skipped through that part. The big thing, though, is the initial knowledge check. So what this does, and if I had computers in class today, this is literally what you were going to do. I was going to give you time. We're all going to get logged into Alex. Everybody's set up and have you do the initial knowledge check. This is probably the knowledge checks probably are the most important part of doing Alex in this class, because depending on how well you do on it, depends on how many topics you have to do. Okay? Now, that being said, don't cheat, because all it's going to do is hurt you down the line. All right? So take the knowledge check seriously, really do stay focused on it, try your absolute best on it. If you don't know something, click I don't know and move on. All right? Don't go search on Google and try to find the answer to get the question done. Because what that'll end up doing is you'll test out of all the easy stuff, and then you'll get those topics that you have no clue how to do because you don't know how to do the concept before it. Okay? So really use this as a test of what you need to know and what you don't remember for your college algebra class, which you might have forgotten over the past couple of years, which you might have forgotten over the summer. It's like it's been 4 months since you guys really took a math class, so it's like you forget things. So use this to find those things out. I built a lot of stuff in the beginning of the class to fill in holes that you might have before we get to the higher end trigonometry stuff and the crazy polynomials and long division and all that other stuff. It's like I know you're going to have holes, and this tries to fill those in. Okay? Yes.
I feel bad for asking so many questions.
You're fine. I'd rather questions than nothing, because then it's just me talking and I get bored with it. What was your question?
For like the test, do you if you get the answer completely wrong, do you get like partial credit or something if you have like the word right?
Yes. So that's the one nice thing about me doing it on paper, is that I do look at your work. So when I did it on Alex, when I had a room of computers, I'd give you 2 attempts on the test, but I wouldn't grade partial credit. It was right or wrong. But I'd give you the second attempt. So you'd go through, do the test, you get your grade, and if you wanted to do it again, you'd go through and do the questions, the test again, and only the ones you got wrong, you'd have to do again. So you got that opportunity. But since it's on paper, yes, I will look at your work, and if you have some work there, I do give partial credit for work. So good question. The knowledge check is not like that, though. When you go through your knowledge check, it typically is between like 15 and 30 questions. You typically won't get more than 30 questions. It probably will take you about an hour or so to go through and do. If it's taking you longer than that, like I used to tell my students, if you're looking at a question and you're staring at it for more than a minute or so and you have no clue what you're doing, literally click the I don't know button. It's okay. All right. The I don't know button is not a bad thing. That means you just need practice on it. And that's something that we would go through and do. So not a horrible thing to do. If you need help with the tools, on the side there's a little question mark. It'll explain to you how to type things in, those type of things. Click out of that so I don't want that anymore. Fine. Here. Type in your answer. So this one is this way. All right. Put your answer in, hit submit. It is not going to tell you if you got it right or wrong. Okay? What will end up happening on the knowledge check is the knowledge check will either get progressively easier. If it's getting really, really easy, that means you're getting things wrong, but that's okay. It's trying to figure out where you are. All right? Its first question, it doesn't know. It's taking a guess. After that, every question that you're answering, it's trying to figure out, okay, do they know this? Do they not know this? And it literally has a tree, and it goes through, okay, if they got this wrong, then go here. And it's trying to figure out where you are. It says, okay, these are the topics you need to study. Notice how the next question's on logs. This one is totally different than the question we just did. All right? I don't know this one, so I'm just going to click I don't know. And it's going to say, are you sure? Yes, I really have no clue what I'm doing on this problem. Okay? And then gives you another one. It's going to keep going. I'm not doing the whole knowledge check. Skip knowledge check. Yes, I know everything. All right. When you're done, yours will not look like this.
We'll have 462 topics.
Maybe. There's 462 topics in the program. I would expect most of you probably would get about 100 of them mastered right off the start. If you're way lower than that, I might need to help catch you up a little faster. That's fine. This gives me information. So this I need done by Thursday. Okay? Because what I'm going to do Thursday morning is I'm going to look at the list of stuff where you guys are, and I'm going to start there. I'm going to hit topics that the majority of you don't know how to do that work towards moving you up. Because the first 2 weeks are basically a review and to fill those holes. So I don't want to do topics that everybody knows. Yes.
If you really suck at something, well, that's gonna give us more problems.
Absolutely. I'll give you, it'll fill in those topics. Yes. You'll have those topics to work on. So like there's topics at the beginning that are just literally graphing a line. Like that's something that I would suspect most people know how to do, like slope-intercept form. Most people in here probably knows how to do simple solving of equations. Those are things that you should know how to do. There's topics in this list for those. So if you don't, it's going to give those to you for your practice. Okay. But I don't want to spend a whole class going through those. So if the majority of you know it, we can move on. So this will show up your list. It'll show you where you're needing the most help in your information. You'll notice that the majority of topics are in graphs and functions. That's where the majority of the trigonometry is, which is a ton. That's probably about 50% of the class is trigonometry in this. Yes.
So can you like start and stop your knowledge checks?
Honestly, I don't remember. I think so. There's no way to save it, but if you just happen to close the browser, I believe it lets you just log back right into that. And there's no time limit on it, so it's not like you're going to time out on it. So you should be able to just close the browser and it should pop back up. Yes.
The Alex I've been using for the past few weeks, months, it gave you about 24 hours.
Yeah, maybe. So worst, just don't submit, because when you hit submit, it submits the rest of it. So don't do that. All right. Actually, I'm gonna go back for a second. We're gonna reset this. I know. Because I closed the window that it was on. Because I want to actually show you what it looks like when out with it was. All right, so let's go through this. Skip this again. That's the tutorial that you'll see. You won't have the option to skip it.
How the class is gonna look? It's just gonna be like writing notes and then we go on and ask questions.
So yeah, a lot of the classes like I have, what I basically do is I look at where you are in Alex and I design like 20, 25 questions, and those are the topics I'm going to cover that class. And we'll go through here. I'll throw them up on, and I actually use the Alex program to do it, because that then allows me to say, okay, I want another one of those questions because they didn't understand those. So all you'll see on the screen here is Alex. You're going to see the exact same problems, the exact same way that you're going to see them at home, the exact same way you're going to see them on the test. So if you're struggling with something, things like that, I just pull up another question. And that's one of the nice things about this is I don't have to make up questions. It just gives me as many of them as I want.
So it's kind of like preemptive. So we do before the class what we're going to be doing in class.
Yeah, you'll have access to everything. So you can go ahead. So that's where I'm going to look at that's why I said I need your knowledge check done by Thursday. So this way I can see where everybody is. I'm going to go through some of the beginning stuff and basic stuff today, just because we don't have computers and that was the plan. But so we're going to go and I'm going to skip the knowledge check, but this time I'm going to say I have little knowledge of pre-calculus. All right, so I got 66 topics best. So this is probably more likely to be what like your pies are going to look like. Okay. Now the key is when you continue. So you'll see here on the side, these are the chapter due dates. So you'll see chapters 1 through basically the 5, including the prep, is due by the 10th. That's why I said there's a ton of topics in there. However, depending on how you do on the knowledge check, you'll master a lot of those. So you won't have to necessarily do them all. Like the prep for chapter 2, I only have 4 topics left to do on that one. So there's not a ton of topics in those. So you'll see this here. This will show you where you are in each one. You click over here. If you look at your assignments, this will be where those review tests are going to be. So they'll be in here next Tuesday because I still have to finish those up. And what you're going to do is you're just going to literally click Start My Path. You can jump around. And Alex, you can click the little arrow and it has all the topics here. You can click and look at any of these topics and work on any of these sections at the same time. Anything with a lock, that means those are future lessons that you can't get to yet. Those will unlock if you finished everything before. So if you're really good at the beginning stuff and you master all that stuff, chapter 4 will unlock ahead of time and you can get ahead of them. Okay. Yes. Yes. Yep. So there's 462 total topics. The 20% of your grade is whatever percent you get done with that. So if you finish 230 of them, you got a 50 for that. That's 10%. That's you get 10% or half of that 20%. Okay. Yes.
You know, this reminds me. Last year when I took a math class like this, we had like 300 something topics, and I tried to get them all done. But some of the topics were not only difficult, but beyond what I've learned in that class.
Yeah. So
So
that could very well happen.
End
So
up getting over 80%, which is,
Yeah, that-
I guess that would be a good intended goal, is to at least try and get a B. You know,
yeah. So it's one of those things. Like my goal is once we get past the review, like I'm not going to do every single topic in the review. Once we get past that, though, I will cover every single topic in class. So if it's a topic in Alex, I will do it in class. Okay. So chapter 4 on, you'll see every single topic that's in Alex. You'll have the actual video lesson that you can go back to and look at online. All right. So there won't be things like, oh, I've never seen this before and wants me to do it. I will have shown it to you. The prerequisite stuff like that, I'm not going to cover everything because there's a ton of them and we'll be here forever. But I want to cover the stuff that's most important. Yeah.
I know you said final is cumulative.
Yep.
Is each test
No.
kind of like be like, yo, there's so
Nope. Each test will be just that chapter. So chapter 4 test will be just the chapter 4 stuff. All right. So when you go in to Alex, you're going to click on the Learn the Topics, Start Path. This is what comes up. The first thing is always explain to you what the topic is. It explains to you what you're supposed to do in this. It'll give you an entire problem and then step-by-step through exactly what's going on. If you get to a step, like sometimes they jump steps, you can click that. It'll show you those missing steps. Okay, so it's got all that built in. If, on the side over here, you have your textbook. This is why I said you do not need a hardcover textbook. If you click ebook and click on this, it will bring up, actually, it will. I have to share the tab. It will bring up the book. So this is the hard book that you buy. So you do not necessarily need the hard book. You have access to it online. Yes. No. Nope. That's why I said don't spend your money buying a book if you don't have to.
All right.
And unlike the calculus book where you use it for Calc 1, Calc 2, Calc 3, and differentials, this book you only use for this class. So I would just get the code. Yeah, you need the you'll need the Alex code. You'll have to pay for the Alex code, but you don't need to pay for the hardcover book from the bookstore, which should save you probably about $100. Also on the side here will be a calculator. If you have your own calculator, you can use your own calculator. You can also use Desmos. Desmos is a great resource to use. The dictionaries here, if you have the term that you don't understand or don't remember, it's there for you. This very cool little feature, Message Center. If you are stuck on a topic, you're more than welcome to email me on my Gmail or on my school email account. That's fine. If you do it in Alex, though, it gives me more information because it'll send me the page you're looking at. So if you're stuck on a specific problem, click that email, the little mailbox, and send me the message there saying, I'm stuck on this. It'll attach the problem that you're on so I can see exactly the problem that you're stuck on, and I can give you feedback directly for that problem. Okay? Currently, I work from home, so any other day except for the Tuesdays and Thursdays where I'm here, I'm literally sitting in front of a computer writing. So my email's there all the time. So I get those messages. So you can pretty much email me whenever, as long as it's not in the middle of the night, I'll probably get back to you pretty quickly. All right. So definitely use the built-in message center to email me, because it'll send me the problem that you need, and you don't have to try to screenshot it and paste it over. And it automatically puts my name in there, so you don't have to worry about that piece. If you want to print things out, you're more than welcome to hit the printer button, and it'll print you out the exact same thing there. So if you want hard copies of certain stuff, if you're the type of person who likes to actually write down notes and stuff like that, you can print out things in that as well. All right. So once you've gone through and looked at this, you click start. All right, so let's look at this one. This is the first problem that they came up with. Let's do this one. So everybody take a couple minutes, try this problem. Yes, you will always have problems that I will ask you in class to try. So making sure you brought something to write with is very important. I don't collect notebooks. I don't check notebooks. What did you do to see what people are talking about? If you get things wrong, if you're making mistakes, that's okay. This is where you want to do that. You want to do it in class. You want to do it when you're doing your practice problems and Alex. You don't want to do that on the tests. So I think making mistakes is not a bad thing. Making mistakes gives me information that I can help you with. So everybody gets the problem right, then I didn't need to cover it. All right, what's first? Why is my pen not working?
You distribute first.
Yes, you distribute first, and my pen's not working, so hold on.
So it would actually be 5x plus 45, right?
Correct, yes. As soon as my thing stops crashing on me. This is typically not how I do it. I normally do it on my screen, but my screen's not working at the moment. This works. Don't forget the second one. The other thing that's really easy, this one doesn't have it. The other thing that's really easy to screw up is if they were negatives, make sure you're distributing the signs as well. All right. So, like for example, if we had a problem like this, it was something like that. It's not 3x minus 5x plus 8.
No, it would be x minus 5x minus 8.
Right. Don't forget the negative signs. Those are the things that happen quite often. You'll get the wrong answer and have no clue why you're getting the wrong answer. All right. So do make sure you pay attention to those.
I think one common cause of forgetting negative signs is working too fast.
Absolutely. Yes, that is a very common cause to make mistakes.
One word at home, work at your own pace.
Yeah. So going back with the tests, actually, it's a very good thing with the tests. I got here at noon and there was no class in here. Anybody was sitting outside for a little while? Was there a class in here before this? Great. The day of the tests, I can be here probably about 11 o'clock. So if you want to come in early, get your test done, we have that capability. I'd rather it earlier than after class, but if there's not a class, I don't know if there's a class after here. So, but I can be here as early as 11 o'clock. So on the day of the test, you can come in and do a little extra work. That will give you a little more time if you work a little slower on things. That's not a bad thing, taking advantage of that as a resource. All right, so we have -8 plus. I have to reset my computer at some point, but that's okay. All right, so we've got that. What's the next step?
Something I do is I would shift 5x to the left by subtracting 5x on both sides.
Okay, that works. However, I would do it the other direction. I would move the 8x. Okay, so because the number one mistake that people make is with negative signs, try to eliminate them at all possible. So when you're trying to move x's over, always move the smaller of the ones. In this case, it's the -8x. So I'm going to add 8x to both sides. The nice thing is it doesn't make a difference which direction you go. The equal sign is the only thing that matters. And when we're dealing with inequalities later on, remember when you multiply or divide by a negative, you have to switch the sign. If you're always moving the smallest thing, when you're dealing with inequalities, you won't ever have a -x. You'll always have a +x, which means you don't have to worry about switching the sign, which saves you a mistake. Okay? And Alex will take the answer either direction. So you can put 8 is less than x or x is greater than 8. Those are the exact same thing in Alex. So in my mind, they're the exact same thing. So that doesn't make a difference. So I would move the smaller one always. So we have 19 equals 13x plus 45. Okay, so now we got to move the 45 over, obviously. Then you're going to have it. So you can't, if you move the 19 over, one of two things will happen. Either you're going to screw it up or you're going to be left with a 0. So if you move the 19 over, you should end up getting this. Plus 45 minus 8 to 26. You should end up with that. What normally happens is people forget that. And they have 13x plus 26. And then they tell me the answer is x equals 2. Which it does not. It's -2. So that is typically what ends up happening if you move the 19 the other direction. If you remember the 0, you'll then have to move the 26 over because you can't divide by 13. So you're going to have to do back. You're basically undoing the step you just did. Okay, so once you move the x, always move the number the other direction. All right, so we got -26 equals 13x. So then we divide by the 13, and we get -2 equals x. Since it's an equal sign, it doesn't make a difference. I can say x equals -2. It doesn't matter the direction because it's the equal sign. If it's an inequality sign, you do have to. Correct. So if it's an inequality sign, you do have to swap it in that respect. All right. Any questions with that one? Okay. So now we go back to Alex. I already typed the answer in. I check. Yay, we got it correct. You'll notice up here, there's a little bar. This is either the bane of your existence or a very nice thing. So the bar is 5 long. You only need to get 3 questions correct to fill. Okay? Correct. In a row. Right. But that's so now going from both sides. I understand why you guys would find that extremely frustrating. I totally get it. I really, truly do. However, in a respect of making sure that you understand things before you get onto the really hard things, it's very useful. Okay? I know it's frustrating, but think about it as it's tailoring it to you to give you the ability to make sure you know what you need. Okay? Yes.
Sometimes you can get the answer right and you'll just type it
Alex the wrong way.
So yes. Well, yes and no. You should only ever do that once. Don't sit there and just keep pounding away at the answer, because then yes, it will send you backwards. All right. If you get it wrong, it does take away one, and you do have to get that back. Yes, it is frustrating. Yes, I understand that. I agree with you. Look at the explanation at the beginning. The very first problem they're going to give you in every topic is going to be the explanation. It'll show you how the answer is supposed to look. That's helpful. Okay. It typically, Alex, is not like decimals unless it's specifically asking you for them. So if it says round the answer to 2 decimal places, round the answer to 2 decimal places. If it doesn't, put it in as a fraction. Okay. I will tell you, I much prefer fractions for your answers than decimals. Fractions are exact and they're never wrong. All right. 0.33333 or 0.33, that's an estimation. 1/3 is exact. Okay. So in Alex, if you have the opportunity to put it in as a fractional answer, put it in as a fractional answer, because then you don't have to worry about any rounding errors. Okay. They're also very picky at rounding errors. Make sure you know how to round correctly. 5 and above, you go up. Anything lower than 5, it stays the same. Make sure you're rounding correctly, because it can make those differences.
Wrong, but like not wrong, but like they'll put it in, but it's just like slightly different, but they're just right.
Yeah, sometimes
It's frustrating.
I agree. I'm not going to say it's flawless. I know it's not. I will tell you that I have done every single topic in this class in Alex. So I literally I know nothing on the actual knowledge check. So it literally started me off at 0, and I've done every one. Okay. So we did it when we first got the program because I wanted to know exactly how this program worked. And I wanted to make sure that I knew how every topic came up and looked like. So yes, it was tortured. I didn't get very many wrong. I knew what I was doing. So that didn't happen there. But I do know those frustrations. I've seen it. It really does come into play a lot of times with the graphs, because if you're a little off on your points. But I'm going to show you, actually, we'll do a graph one next. So I'll show you how to use the things so you don't screw those little things up, because those are really easy to make mistakes on. So, all right, let's go through and finish this one off real quick.
Calculator, I didn't even ask about that. Should we have a graphic calculator?
I would not. So Desmos works fine for me. So if you want to use Desmos, you can. If you want to use Desmos on your phone as an app during the test, that's fine. Because the test sensitivity calculator hasn't changed since I went to school, and that was in 1995. And it's the same price. So I'm not making you spend $100 and something on a calculator that you can have an app on your phone that'll do the exact same thing. And I think Desmos is actually a better thing. So if you want to download the 2 apps, it's Desmos Scientific and Desmos Graphing. Those are the 2 apps. Those are great apps to use for your calculator. They'll work on iPhones and Androids and anything else. Yes. You can. Yeah, that's fine. Typically during the test, I'll stand in the back, so I'd be able to see what most people are doing. We'll go with yes until I see people doing things that they shouldn't be doing. So as long as you're only using those and we're fine, we won't have a problem. Yes.
I'm guessing one thing we're going to know is when we should or shouldn't be using calculators.
So Alex will tell you, like right now, you can see here, there's no calculator. So Alex tells you don't need a calculator for this one. I don't care. I'm one of those teachers that you're going to have a calculator when you leave here. So might as well use one when you're looking at it. I'm not going to give you, like, even this problem here. There's nothing, you're not going to be able to type this into a calculator and get an answer anyway. So, like, you still have to go through and do the workout. On the test, I'm going to expect to see the work because I'm grading you on that. So even if the answer is perfectly correct, if there's no work there, and I know you can't get from A to B without doing some work, I'm not giving you full credit for that problem. So while it says no calculator, you can definitely use a calculator. It's just not going to be built into the program for it. They do build a calculator in for certain problems, especially the word problems. All right. What's the answer? Because I don't feel like doing it real quick. Okay. You better have got it right, otherwise I'm going to go backwards. Very good. All right. And one more. 13. Hasn't seen it yet. 13. 6x 0? No. -3, I think. Yeah. All right. So I got 3. They're all done. You click next. Tells you how many topics you have left in that goal. So we're working on the preps. I have 16 topics left apparently in this module. Good. This is actually a graphing one. Perfect. So here is a graphing problem. So you'll notice it says graph. It gives you a way to graph it, and it shows the graph. You'll notice down the bottom, this one says another explanation. This method right here, this is not how I would ever show you how to graph this problem. I would use slope-intercept. If you click another explanation, it actually shows you the slope-intercept method to solve this problem. Okay? Yes?
Last semester, our professor let us like literally type in the equations for graphing calculator for us. He would let us go table.
They were really nice with you. No. They were really nice with you. So, well, yes, but the problem is depending on how far you go. Like, I don't know how far in your program you need to go for math. So there are going to be situations where things don't come out to be exact, and you're going to want that exact value for it. And if you do it in Desmos, which you could do, it's going to give you a decimal answer, which might be close. And that might be how you screw things up in Alex, because it's close, but it's not exact. And Alex wants the exact answer. So I would rather you not do that. I will show you ways to do it that are pretty simple to do. Like I'm going to show you for this one. So let's actually start this one, because I'm going to actually show you, because these are how you don't screw things up in Alex. In Alex, you have the plot a point. Put your exact answer, put the answer in that point. Okay? Don't try to use the pencil if at all possible. Because if you're just a little off with that pencil, it's going to mark it wrong. Okay? The other nice thing is this point will take crazy answers. Like it'll take e's, it'll take trig functions, it'll take fractions, it'll take square roots, anything in there. Okay? So you want to solve the problem to get that exact answer and put that in here as the point. So for this problem, we've got our slope-intercept. So my first point we graph is my y-intercept. So in this case, it's -1. So I'm going to put my point at 0, -1. Let me plot the point. So it's there. And then my slope is -3. So from there, I'm going to go down 3. So 1, 2, 3, and over 1. So I'm now at 1, -4. So I'm going to put my point, 1, -4, plot point. While you're graphing your problems and doing these things, you also want to we want to make sure to check your work as much as possible. This is a negative slope. The line should be going in which direction? Down. So if you have your line going up, you know you screwed up. Okay? These are things you should look at when you're doing the problems. Now that we've got our points drawn, we can literally click right on those points. It'll lock to those points. So when you're going over, make sure it's clicked on that point and then hit check. Let's see. I'm almost sure you need the line,
You do. I think it'll tell you.
but let's see. Oh, yeah, no, that's the line. That's what I clicked. But I think you need the line. Yeah, you need the line. Now you're wrong. See, it's all your fault. You need the line. Yeah.
But you technically did graph the line.
No, actually,
You didn't graph the line.
apparently I screwed that one up. Oh, well.
Really?
Yeah, apparently I was off because I was clicking quick. But no, it still would have marked you wrong because of the line. Actually, that's a very important distinction, and more so for my stats class I'm teaching later tonight than this class. But the line and points are two different things. Okay, so the points are very distinct values that are on that line that solve that equation. The line is every solution to that problem. So this my stats class tonight, my teacher, it was one of the things we're talking about with graphs. Is you'll see people will plot like dot plots and put the points on it, and we have a human instinct to connect those dots. No matter what, we want to connect the dots. When you connect the dots, that means something, because now it means that everything between those 2 points has a value. That's why we're connecting the dots here and making that line, because all those points will work, not just the 2 that I chose. Where in that situation, in the stats class, those values might not exist. So you don't want to necessarily put those lines. So those do mean 2 different things. All right, I'm frustrated with this problem. I don't want to do this problem anymore. You can, that's fine. Go up to click that little arrow, and you have a bunch of other topics you can choose from. Let's good. So you might get to some problems that are locked. So that little lock button, that means you can't do that topic yet. But if you click on the lock, it'll tell you which topic will unlock it. It will, as long as there's not more than 5 topics that'll unlock it. So like if you only have a couple topics, it'll show you those topics that you need to do to unlock it. This one, well, I got to multiply ones with a leading coefficient of 1. So just click on it, and it brings you back to the topic that you would need to do. So this is the topic that we would need to do for that. Okay. But let's say, you know what? I'm done with the prep. I really want to get into some of the other lessons. Let me look at the chapter 1 stuff. So we can click on chapter 1, and here's all the topics for chapter 1. You can filter. If you click on review, these are topics that you've already done or topics that you might have mastered in the initial knowledge check. So you can click on review, and these are all the topics that you've already done. So you can go back and still practice those topics if you want to get a little bit more information, or you might not totally remember how to do it. You can do that there. That's right there at review. Oh, good. These have this one. Let's click video, because they have videos built in for some of these too. Now, some topics have a video attached to them. Yes, this one does. So you'll see over here it says videos. You can click on it, and there's a random guy going through a video, and it'll go through. And walk
Graph
you through
this
how to do it.
linear equation using intercepts.
I have not watched most of these videos.
Okay, what's interesting
So I
about
have no
intercepts
clue how good
is
they are or anything else like that. But they're there for your use. I think that's pretty much it. You can click review there. Your grade book will not show you the test grades, but will show you which percentage you're done with each one of these. This number here will lock as soon as September 10th hits. Okay? So while these numbers are here, they don't mean anything. All right? The only thing in Alex that you're going to need to worry about is that number right there. So if you click right in the middle where it says it, that's the percent of the topics that you've done. That's the percentage that 20 points you'd get. Okay? So right now I'd get 3 of the 20 points. Okay? So that's the grade that you get in terms of the homework grade for it. I will in Alex, because I can put in the actual test grades for you. So you will have the test grades built into Alex. You can go to the grade book and look at your test scores for that there. But that part right there will be wrong.
That's going to be multiple choice at all, or no?
A couple of the questions might. It depends. So because there are some topics in Alex that are multiple choice. So that is a possibility, but the majority of them will not be. So because like I said, I'm gonna pick topics from Alex. So there are some that are multiple choice or true false and stuff like that.
Topics that everyone's doing bad in, or are you going to pick?
No, I'm going to pick topics that are focused on what we need to cover in that thing. So actually, let's see. I think we can go here. So if we look at, oh, it's not going to let me go ahead. Yeah, like if we look here, so like I'm probably not going to put on the test graphing a slope-intercept equation. I very well might put on the test graphing a cubic equation because that's more along lines of what we need to know and what you're going to need to go going forward. When we're in the trig stuff, I'm going to put more stuff on there based on the identity rules and those type of things and solving out those types of things because that's what I know you need going forward.
It would be like extremely recommended for to memorize the shape of each graph.
Honestly, I don't think you have to memorize pretty much anything necessarily. Like you're gonna have the cards that you can easily like sketch out a graph on there. I think having a general idea of what the graphs look like, so you know if you screwed something up, is helpful. Like like even with the slope intercept when we just did it, so it was negative. It's like, okay, make sure you know what's going down. Those type of things. Like those are important. Like I wouldn't just memorize a bunch of formulas to memorize a bunch of formulas. All right. Because I don't think that's useful. I think that's something that you have access to outside. The biggest key though is, especially if you're using calculators, especially if you're using graphing calculators, is knowing when you screwed something up. Okay, because like I've heard so many times, well, that's what the calculator got. I'm like, yeah, but you typed it in wrong. Like you got negative area. There's something wrong here. Area can't be negative. Like fix something. Like you put that down in your test. It's like, okay, you should have caught that mistake. So those are the things that I'm more looking for than regurgitating information, because that's what mathematics is designed to be. It's like it's designed to teach you how to think about a problem, how to break something apart, and how to solve it, and not just here's a formula, here's an algorithm, find me an answer. I have Chat GPT that can do that for me. I don't need you. It's like I need you to be thinking. I need you to be that mindset, and that's what we try to get you through in that.
We had a professor last year. We like had to like, you know, all of
Yeah.
that.
We won't be like that. So, any other questions? Okay. What do you have to do by Thursday? You have to get logged in, Alex, and you have to do the initial knowledge check. Okay. Other than that, I'm good for today. So take the advantage of the extra time and get that done before Thursday for me. So I will have this way Thursday. I can focus on the stuff that most of you guys are struggling with, so we can move forward over the next couple of weeks. Okay. This. Stop recording.